A. Apple. Apple is the round, edible fruit of an apple tree. Fruit trees of the orchard or domestic apple, the most widely grown in the genus, are cultivated worldwide. The tree originated in Central Asia, where its wild ancestor, Malus sieversii, is still found. Apples have been grown for thousands of years in Eurasia before they were introduced to North America by European colonists. Apples have cultural significance in many mythologies and religions. Apples grown from seeds tend to be very different from those of their parents, and the resultant fruit frequently lacks desired characteristics. A. Ant. Ants are eusocial insects of the family Formicidae and, along with the related wasps and bees, belong to the order Hymenoptera. Ants evolved from Vespoid wasp ancestors in the Cretaceous period. More than 13,800 of an estimated total of 22,000 species have been described. They are easily identified by their geniculate antennae and the distinctive node-like structure that forms their slender waists. Ants form colonies that range in size from a few dozen individuals often living in small natural cavities to highly organized colonies that may occupy large territories with a sizable nest that consist of millions of individuals. A. Alligator. Alligator is a large reptile in the genus Alligator of the family Alligatoridae in the order Crocodilia. The two extant species are the American alligator and the Chinese alligator. Additionally, several extinct species of alligator are known from fossil remains. Alligators first appeared during the late Eocene epoch about 37 million years ago. The term alligator is likely an anglicized form of el lagarto, Spanish for the lizard, which early Spanish explorers and settlers in Florida called the alligator. Early English spellings of the name included Alagarda and Aligardo. Alligators are notable for their ability to inhabit climates that are considerably more temperate than those of most other crocodilians. A. Astronaut. Astronaut is a person trained, equipped, and deployed by a human spaceflight program to serve as a commander or crew member of a spacecraft. Although generally reserved for professional space travelers, the term is sometimes applied to anyone who travels into space, including scientists, politicians, journalists, and space tourists. In the United States, it is a designated term used by three agencies: NASA, the FAA, and the military. The term is also used for people who are trained to fly in a spacecraft after passing certain training courses, regardless of their experience of space travel. Astronaut technically applies to all human space travelers regardless of nationality. A. Axe. Axe is an implement that has been used for thousands of years to shape, split, and cut wood, to harvest timber, and as a weapon. The axe has many forms and specialized uses but generally consists of a head with a sharpened blade attached to a handle. Before the modern axe, the Stone Age hand axe without a handle was used from 1.5 million years BP. Hafted axes date from at least 46,000 years BP by northern indigenous Australians. The earliest examples of handled axes have heads of stone with some form of wooden handle attached in a method to suit the available materials and use. Axes made of copper, bronze, iron, and steel appeared as these technologies developed. A. Ambulance. Ambulance is a medically equipped vehicle used to transport patients to treatment facilities, such as hospitals. Typically, out-of-hospital medical care is provided to the patient during the transport. Ambulances are used to respond to medical emergencies by emergency medical services, and can rapidly transport paramedics and other first responders, carry equipment for administering emergency care, and transport patients to hospital or other definitive care. Most ambulances use a design based on vans or pickup trucks, though others take the form of motorcycles, buses, hearses, aircraft and boats. A. Anchor. Anchor is a device, normally made of metal, used to secure a vessel to the bed of a body of water to prevent the craft from drifting due to wind or current. The word derives from Latin ancora, which itself comes from the Greek anchora. Anchors can either be temporary or permanent. Permanent anchors are used in the creation of a mooring, and are rarely moved, a specialist service is normally needed to move or maintain them. Vessels carry one or more temporary anchors, which may be of different designs and weights. A sea anchor is a drag device, not in contact with the seabed, used to minimize drift of a vessel relative to the water. A. Antelope. Antelope is an extant or recently extinct species of the ruminant Artiodactyl family Bovidae, which are indigenous to most of Africa, India, the Middle East, Central Asia, and a small area of Russia. Antelopes do not form a monophyletic group, as some antelopes are more closely related to other bovid groups, such as bovines, goats, and sheep, than to other antelopes. A stricter grouping, known as the true antelopes, includes only the genera Gazella, Nangor, Eudorcas, and Antilope. One North American mammal, the pronghorn or pronghorn antelope, is colloquially referred to as the American antelope, despite the fact that it belongs to a different family than the true Old World antelopes. Pronghorn are the sole extant member of a lineage that once included many species which went extinct in the prehistoric period. A. Alpaca. Alpaca is a domesticated species of South American camelid. Traditionally, alpacas were kept in herds that grazed on the level heights of the Andes of southern Peru, western Bolivia, Ecuador, and northern Chile. More recently, alpacas may be found on farms and ranches worldwide, with thousands of animals born and raised annually. Alpacas are especially popular in North America, Europe, and Australia. There are two modern breeds of alpaca, separated based on their respective region of endemism and fiber type, the Suri alpaca and the Huacaya alpaca. Both breeds produce a highly valued fiber, with Suri alpaca's fiber growing in straight locks, while Huacaya fiber has a crimped, wavy texture and grows in bundles. These breeds' fibers are used for making knitted and woven items, similar to sheep's wool. A. Airplane. Airplane is a fixed-wing aircraft that is propelled forward by thrust from a jet engine, propeller, or rocket engine. Airplanes come in a variety of sizes, shapes, and wing configurations. The broad spectrum of uses for airplanes includes recreation, transportation of goods and people, military, and research. Worldwide, commercial aviation transports more than 4 billion passengers annually on airliners and transports more than 200 billion ton-kilometers of cargo annually, which is less than 1% of the world's cargo movement. Most airplanes are flown by a pilot on board the aircraft, but some are designed to be remotely or computer-controlled, such as drones. A. Apricot. Apricot is a fruit, or the tree that bears the fruit, of several species in the genus Prunus. Usually an apricot is from the species Prunus armeniaca, but the fruits of the other species in Prunus sect Armeniaca are also called apricots. In 2023, world production of apricots was 3.7 million tons, led by Turkey with 20% of the total. Prunus armeniaca was domesticated in ancient times in Central Asia and China. Cultivation of the tree then spread across Eurasia and to North Africa and Japan. The fruit is consumed both fresh and dried. Apricots are used in dishes including cakes, tarts, and jam, and in savory dishes, for example in stuffing. A. Arrow. Arrow is a fin-stabilized projectile launched by a bow. A typical arrow usually consists of a long, stiff, straight shaft with a weighty, and usually sharp and pointed, arrowhead attached to the front end, multiple fin-like stabilizers called fletchings mounted near the rear, and a slot at the rear end called a nock for engaging the bowstring. A container or bag carrying additional arrows for convenient reloading is called a quiver. The use of bows and arrows by humans predates recorded history and is common to most cultures. A craftsman who makes arrows is a fletcher, and one who makes arrowheads is an arrowsmith. A. Apron. Apron is a garment covering the front of the body, over clothing, to protect the clothing underneath. They have several purposes, most commonly to protect clothes and skin from stains and marks, and also worn as a decoration, for hygienic reasons, as part of a uniform, or as protection from acid, allergens, excessive heat, etc. It can also be used at workstations to hold extra tools and pieces in pockets, and protect from dust and unwanted materials. As a top layer that covers the front body, the apron is also worn as a uniform, adornment, ceremonial garb, or fashion statement. The word comes from Old French napron, meaning a small piece of cloth. Over time an apron became an apron, a linguistic evolution called rebracketing. A. Almond. Almond is a species of tree from the genus Prunus. Along with the peach, it is classified in the subgenus Amygdalus, distinguished from the other subgenera by corrugations on the woody shell surrounding the seed. The fruit of the almond is a drupe, consisting of an outer hull and a hard shell with the seed, which is not a true nut. Shelling almonds refers to removing the shell to reveal the seed. Almonds are sold shelled or unshelled. Blanched almonds are unshelled almonds that have been treated with hot water to soften the outer skin, which is then removed to reveal the white embryo. Once almonds are cleaned and processed, they can be stored for around a year if kept refrigerated. At higher temperatures they will become rancid more quickly. A. Armadillo. Armadillos are placental mammals in the order Cingulata. They form part of the superorder Xenarthra, along with the anteaters and sloths. 21 extant species of armadillo have been described, some of which are distinguished by the number of bands on their armor. All species are native to the Americas, where they inhabit a variety of environments. Living armadillos are characterized by a leathery armor shell and long, sharp claws for digging. They have short legs, but can move quite quickly. The average length of an armadillo is about 75 centimeters, including its tail. The giant armadillo grows up to 150 centimeters and weighs up to 54 kilograms, while the pink fairy armadillo has a length of only 13 to 15 centimeters. A. Abacus. Abacus is a hand-operated calculating tool which was used from ancient times, in the ancient Near East, Europe, China, and Russia, until largely replaced by handheld electronic calculators, during the 1980s, with some ongoing attempts to revive their use. An abacus consists of a two-dimensional array of slidable beads. In their earliest designs, the beads could be loose on a flat surface or sliding in grooves. Later the beads were made to slide on rods and built into a frame, allowing faster manipulation. Each rod typically represents one digit of a multi-digit number laid out using a positional numeral system such as base 10. A. Acrobat. Acrobat is the performance of human feats of balance, agility, and motor coordination. Acrobatic skills are used in performing arts, sporting events, and martial arts. Extensive use of acrobatic skills are most often performed in acro dance, circus, gymnastics, and free running, and to a lesser extent in other athletic activities including ballet, slacklining, and diving. Although acrobatics is most commonly associated with human body performance, the term is used to describe other types of performance, such as aerobatics. Acrobats are found in many cultures, and there is evidence that the earliest such traditions occurred thousands of years ago. A. Angel. Angel is a spiritual, heavenly, or supernatural entity, usually humanoid with bird-like wings, often depicted as a messenger or intermediary between God and humanity in various traditions like the Abrahamic religions. Other roles include protectors and guides for humans, such as guardian angels and servants of God. In Western belief systems the term is often used to distinguish benevolent from malevolent intermediary beings. Emphasizing the distance between God and mankind, revelation-based belief systems require angels to bridge the gap between the earthly and the transcendent realm. Angels play a lesser role in monistic belief systems, since the gap is non-existent. However, angelic beings might be conceived as aids to achieve a proper relationship with the divine. A. Accordion. Accordions are a family of box-shaped musical instruments of the bellows-driven free-reed aerophone type. The essential characteristic of the accordion is to combine in one instrument a melody section, also called the discant, usually on the right-hand keyboard, with an accompaniment or basso continuo functionality on the left hand. The musician normally plays the melody on buttons or keys on the right-hand side, and the accompaniment on bass or preset chord buttons on the left-hand side. A person who plays the accordion is called an accordionist. The accordion belongs to the free-reed aerophone family. Other instruments in this family include the concertina, harmonica, and bandoneon. A. Anteater. Anteaters are the 4 extant mammal species in the suborder Vermilingua, commonly known for eating ants and termites. The individual species have other names in English and other languages. Together with sloths, they are within the order Pilosa. The name anteater is also commonly applied to the aardvark, numbat, echidnas, and pangolins, although they are not closely related to true anteaters. Extant species are the giant anteater Myrmecophaga tridactyla, about 1.8 m long including the tail, the silky anteater Cyclopes didactylus, about 35 cm long, the southern tamandua or collared anteater Tamandua tetradactyla, about 1.2 m long, and the northern tamandua Tamandua mexicana of similar dimensions.